Arthur Schopenhauer, the man who explained suffering. Arthur Schopenhauer was not the kind of philosopher people turned to for comfort. He did not promise progress, happiness, or redemption. He offered something colder and perhaps more unsettling: clarity. Beneath civilization, beneath reason, beneath all the stories human beings tell themselves about meaning and purpose, Schopenhauer believed there was a darker force at work. Not logic, not morality, not divine order, but a blind, restless impulse driving all life from within. He called it the will. Born in 1788 in Danzig, Schopenhauer grew up in a wealthy merchant family. His father wanted him to pursue a practical life shaped by trade and success. But Arthur was drawn in another direction. He was fascinated not by commerce, but by ideas, by the hidden structure of reality, by the nature of human suffering, by the question of what truly moves us beneath the surface. When his father died under uncertain circumstances, widely believed to have been suicide, a shadow entered Schopenhauer's life early. It never fully left. He eventually turned to philosophy and immersed himself in the work of Immanuel Kant, who argued that the world we perceive is not reality as it exists in itself, but reality as it appears through the structure of the human mind. Schopenhauer accepted this starting point, but he pushed it further than Kant had. If the world we know is only appearance, he asked, then what lies behind it? What is the force beneath all representations? His answer was radical. At the core of human life, of animal life, even of nature itself, Schopenhauer saw no rational design and no benevolent purpose. He saw an endless striving, a ceaseless urge to exist, to grow, to consume, to reproduce, to pursue, to cling. Every living thing is driven by it. Every desire is an expression of it. This blind inner pressure, this relentless urge without final satisfaction, is what Schopenhauer meant by the will. That idea became the foundation of his great work, The World as Will and Representation. In that book, he argued that life is not a steady movement toward fulfillment. It is a cycle of wanting. We desire what we do not have. We suffer in pursuit of it. We attain it briefly, and then almost at once a new desire takes its place. Satisfaction fades. Restlessness returns. The mind reaches outward again. The pattern does not end. For Schopenhauer, this was the hidden engine of human misery. Suffering was not an accident in life. It was built into its structure. To want is to lack. To lack is to suffer. And even when desire is fulfilled, the relief is temporary. What follows is either a new craving or the emptiness of boredom. We move, in his view, between pain and dissatisfaction, never quite arriving at peace. It was a brutal diagnosis of existence, and his age had little appetite for it. In Schopenhauer's time, German philosophy was dominated by Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, whose system presented history as the unfolding of reason. Many saw Hegel as the great voice of philosophical confidence, a thinker who could interpret the world as progress and development. Schopenhauer despised this vision. He regarded it as inflated, obscure, and fundamentally dishonest about the reality of suffering. In one of the most revealing episodes of his career, Schopenhauer scheduled his university lectures at the exact same hour as Hegel's, as if daring students to choose between them. They did. Hegel's hall filled. Schopenhauer's did not. Only a handful attended. It was not merely a professional disappointment. It was a humiliation. His ideas were ignored for years, and he spent much of his life in relative isolation, convinced he had seen something essential that the intellectual world refused to face. But Schopenhauer was not simply a neglected genius. He was also, by most accounts, a deeply difficult man. He could be arrogant, harsh, suspicious, and contemptuous of others. He made few close allies and often seemed to confirm the image of the embittered philosopher who judges humanity while struggling to live peaceably among human beings. In one notorious incident, he became involved in a confrontation with Caroline Louise Marquet, a woman in his building. The matter ended in court, and Schopenhauer was ordered to pay compensation for years. It was an ugly episode, and one that exposed a tension running through his life. He understood suffering with extraordinary depth, yet did not always rise above his own temperament. That contradiction matters because Schopenhauer's philosophy was not only pessimistic, it was also ethical. If all living beings are driven by the same blind will, all are subject to the same struggle, the same frustration, the same pain. For that reason, he argued that compassion is the true basis of morality, not obedience to rules, not abstract duty, not social approval. Compassion arises when one being recognizes itself in the suffering of another. In a world defined by striving, that recognition becomes morally decisive. He also believed that there were rare moments in which the pressure of the will could be interrupted. One of them was art. In everyday life, we look at the world through the lens of desire. We want, fear, compare, calculate. But in true aesthetic contemplation, Schopenhauer believed something changes. For a brief time, we stop grasping, we stop pursuing, we simply perceive. Art does not solve the problem of existence, but it offers a temporary release from the machinery of craving. And among all the arts, Schopenhauer gave the highest place to music because he believed music expresses the will itself more directly than words, images, or concepts ever could. He was also deeply influenced by Indian philosophy, especially the Upanishads, which he admired throughout his life. In them, he found support for the idea that liberation does not come through acquiring more, but through renouncing attachment, to want less, to live simply, to loosen one's grip on desire. These were, for Schopenhauer, among the few serious responses to the suffering built into existence. He did not imagine that happiness could be permanently secured, but he did think the tyranny of the will could, in rare cases, be weakened. For decades, almost no one listened. Then, later in his life, something changed. A new generation began to discover his work. What had once seemed merely bleak now appeared unflinchingly honest. Among those drawn to him was Friedrich Nietzsche, who initially admired Schopenhauer intensely. Writers, artists, and later psychologists would also feel his influence. The philosopher, who had long been dismissed as excessively dark, now seemed to many like a man who had simply refused to lie. By the time Schopenhauer died in 1860, he had achieved the influence he had always believed he deserved. It was not a triumphant victory in the usual sense. It was quieter than that, but it mattered. He had not softened his ideas to please his age. Instead, time had made his severity more legible. His legacy is not simply that he said life contains suffering. Many people have said that. His deeper contribution was that he tried to explain why suffering persists, why desire renews itself, why satisfaction fades so quickly, and why human beings remain restless even after getting what they wanted. He gave philosophical form to disappointment. He turned despair into metaphysics, and even now his thought still feels disturbingly familiar. In our endless pursuit of more success, more pleasure, more status, more validation, we can still see Schopenhauer's will at work. In the strange emptiness that follows achievement, we can still hear the echo of his diagnosis. Schopenhauer did not offer hope in the ordinary sense. He offered something harsher and rarer: lucidity. To understand desire is not necessarily to escape it, but it may allow us, at moments, to loosen its grip through art, through restraint, through compassion, and through the difficult discipline of seeing life without illusion. And for Schopenhauer, that was enough.